Hello Australia, this is Jamie the Crypto Koala. Now today guys, I'm with Brad. Now Brad is an expert on
Hey
Neo.
guys.
Hey mate, how's it going?
Oh, it's awesome to be with you, James. Thank you so much for having me on your channel, mate.
Mate, it's an absolute pleasure. Now Brad, I've been following your work mate, and you're such a good Neo researcher, and you do some really good posts on Neo. Like most of my information about Neo guys comes from Brad and a couple of other Twitterers. So we're mixing them guys later on, but he's a wealth of information. He's got some really big connections with Neo and the Neo team, and also Ontology. So yeah, we're just going to talk about Neo today, guys, and we're going to, there's some really good news that's coming out, really exciting news that's come from Neo at the moment, and the whole ecosystem in general. So Brad, mate, what's the big news coming out with their Apex at the moment?
Well, mate, basically Apex has been really exciting because, as you would have seen through the Twitter feeds that we released, thanks to NNMI, there were all kinds of things being thrown around, like Microsoft, Alibaba. But really, the reason why Apex is so great, James, is because it is essentially, it functions a bit like a data a store, much like Ontology does for trust. And what I mean by that is it's a consumer distributed mechanism. So that sounds really crazy, but the real benefit is that the platform apps, like for example Microsoft, or we're talking, you saw some of these examples in the release that we put forward last night. But those big companies, they are like a bridge between users like us and Apex. So what Apex does is it's actually going to be a data system, a complete data network that's going to allow, it's going to act like a bridge. And that bridge is actually between a bigger group, and that's the enterprise group. So in a nutshell, what I would say is, if you think of it in 4 layers, like a tiered system. On the top, you've got users, and that's us, mate. So we're the ones who interact and use the system. But then you've got 2 below, and then one next to that. That one is the Dapps, the platforms and the Dapps used by the partners. And those partners are the ones we saw being thrown around all through the internet. We had Microsoft, Alibaba, and Baidu. That's that layer. But then underneath that, you've got this really awesome system called Apex. And that Apex system is what's going to allow people like us to actually get rewards, to get real tangible tokens by pushing out our data when we're not using it. So you can get things like rewards through branding. So say, for example, if you think about your favorite brand, that can actually apply to all of this network of system, because underneath that, in the last layer, is the enterprise. And they've got this really cool thing that they've put forward, and it's basically like a module called the Nexus Enterprise Client App. So that from the bottom in your apps and the top, you've got apps involved. And the Apex system brings those apps together and makes it valuable for you as a user. So in a nutshell, you benefit greatly because it's a bit like Ontology, and it's really hard for people to understand Ontology because it's not a blockchain. It's a network, it's an ecosystem, and that's what this is, and that's why it makes it huge, because it's going to be a bridge to 2 things. It's going to bridge enterprise to user, but it's also going to bring the platform applications to the wider business frame, because it's going to allow everyone to sort of tap in to the applications that the partners already offer. And inside those applications for the partners, they already provide and house your information, like all your data that you've worked on with those current, modern, contemporary and present partners that exist. All that Apex are going to do, mate, is they're going to sort of use that info, and they're going to take it much further with that. So users will benefit because for the first time, we won't have middlemen. It'll go from enterprise straight to you through Apex as a network, not as a whole bunch of lawyers or a whole bunch of people trying to manage your data. We just get rid of that and use Apex to benefit the token holder. So the partnerships, this is where it gets really valuable, James, is that yes, Apex is going to be a Dapp. It's going to be on the Neo network. We know that's great, and we've seen a whole heap of partners on that list. And we're talking massive partners like Amazon, we're talking Microsoft, really exciting stuff. But where it gets truly exciting is that those applications are actually between Apex and the user. So that means you benefit from all those interconnections and you benefit from the enterprise nexus module. So it's really crazy and it's really confusing. But just remember, if you know that Ontology is good for Neo, you know that Apex is good for Neo, and that's exciting.
That's great news. That's really good. It just shows how big this actually is. So how is that in relation to Neo, Brad?
Well, mate, basically, the information's been clear on the website that it's going to be running a Dapp. It's going to be an application that directly sits on the Neo ecosystem and Neo platform. So that in itself, many people would argue that that's not so exciting because other Dapps are coming. But when you couple that, when we know for sure that that's going to be on the Neo platform, firstly, that's going to add value. It's been a value add point for the overall ecosystem. And if you guys are hodlers of Neo, that's going to be valuable as the overall Dapp framework grows, because as I've always said, Neo is that hub value. It's the asset value for everything. Stretch it further, we're going to be talking about Amazon, which is another partner. We're going to talk about Microsoft, which is another partner. And then we're going to talk about Onchain, which is the private counterpart of Neo. It's the private enterprise-based business that's underpinned by DNA, which is the on-sell product for Onchain. They're all the partners, James, and they are one of the most incredible and most robust partnerships we've yet seen. So in terms of specifics to Apex, I just want to make it clear, we aren't talking, when NM and I got excited about this, it wasn't just about Apex. This was about a much, much bigger picture of where these partnerships are headed in the future.
Well, you mentioned there these two companies that everyone knows about that outside of cryptocurrency and also inside cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, is Microsoft.
Yes.
And the also is Amazon. So how are they going to be a part of the Neo on the bigger scale of things?
Well, that is one of the things that I've been looking heavily into, particularly in Microsoft. And I could talk for hours just on the connections with Microsoft, which I won't, because I won't want to bore you, everybody. But with Amazon, I'll start with that one. That was more of a supposition from our research. We suspected that, but we hadn't really seen any clear evidence of any partnership. So that is a very innovative, exciting connection. There's also, very much the possibilities for other companies like Yahoo, as you've seen, with the movement that's also shown with regard to the overall crypto space. But with Microsoft, let's just talk about that. There's a company inside Microsoft called Microsoft Azure, and for quite some time now, they've been working directly with Onchain and Neo, and they have a product many of you guys would know, or some may not, called Coco, which is specifically a mechanism for trust that they've been working on for quite a long time. And Da Hongfei, or Hongfei Da, has certainly had a lot of involvement in indirectly or directly with teams like that. But just this August, the Microsoft Azure team actually went to China, to Shanghai, and they They went and worked with Onchain the 5 days or so after they announced the Coco technology. So what I guess I'm suggesting is looking just at facts without FOMO and without hype. There is overt connections with various stakeholders in the overall ecosystem, particularly Neo and Elastos. So I'm really, really excited about this because, once again, it ties Onchain and Neo very explicitly with one of the Dapps, which is great for the Neo ecosystem's future.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean, mate. And you can just see how big Neo is getting the Neo ecosystem. And there's some really big connections that's been going on, and you can just see how busy Neo is at the moment.
It's so
and
busy.
some big projects, big connections, big partnerships.
Yeah, well, things like Jane, we're talking about the Key and Q-Link. We're talking about Ont. We'll talk about that probably. Your interview with Jun Lee was awesome, so thank you so much for giving us that opportunity to have an insight into perspectives we hadn't known before. But that's also part of the overall picture, James, because we're not talking about Neo independently anymore. And that's the misguided perception that we may, some people may have when I talk about Neo, because I talk about the overall network. And I know for sure that there's those interconnections, particularly through NeoX. That's what makes this the most robust ecosystem in the blockchain space right now throughout the world.
Yeah, I can definitely see how a lot of ICOs will now be considering Neo than Ethereum. Now, Ethereum in its own right is an amazing platform, but I think they've got some real strong competition now with Neo, just with all their developments coming up, and it's a lot more than Neo. There's Ontology, Onchain, so they've got a really good system coming up, and they're going to be some really good competition now to Ethereum.
Yeah, well, mate, absolutely. And the thing is that a lot of people like to compare them, but I guess my position from being a bit of a blockchain researcher is I don't regard them in any way similar, simply because of the things we're now unpacking. I would have initially looked at it as two Dapps platforms, which many people do. But right now, we are seeing the evolution of Neo in one of the most exciting ways, and that's one of them is trust. When you see the direct connection through a Neo contract between Ontology and Neo, that provides you with something that is enterprise focused. And so there are gateways not just into the private enterprise, but into the overall public blockchain space, whereby any business, whether they be small or large, can trust the blockchain. And this is where it gets really exciting, James. It's not just that we have Ontology. We're about to have a global network where Neo will become compliance ready. And what that means is that they are setting up a legal framework to make sure that any blockchain business that depends to the blockchain ecosystem is done properly, it's done legally, and it's done with a global mindset. And I do mean global because that will include China indirectly, because China will have the capability to tap into this framework through proper legal processes, which is so cool.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. That's it, China. Now it's a homegrown, it's from China, and just the fact is that they will be able to start getting in the future possibly ICOs that are coming from China will maybe join the Neo platform. So that's what gives it the advantage. It's got that. It includes China, so you've got the whole world, and it includes China.
Well, the thing is, as well, a lot of people they even contact me and say, "Oh, when is the ICO ban going to, stop?" And I always respond and say, "The facts. The facts are that the government's made it very clear. Hongfei Da has made it very clear that is not going to happen in the short term. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be excited, because ICO is just a fundraising mechanism. It's just a way to get cash and money for any business." What they've done is two things. China haven't said no to fundraising at all. In fact, they've privatized it so that you can have up to 200 people, 200 supporters or investors to do that privately. So that's fine. They can do that. But the other exciting thing is that Da Hongfei and his very experienced team are setting up another means for this to happen legally. And that's where companies, for example, tomorrow in Japan, there's a big meetup, and there's companies like CoinFirm and BlockPass, who I'm talking to later. They're all part of this compliance readiness. They're all part of a network that is very much linked to Onchain's law chain, which is a child chain, in that they are all trying to assert a means in which we can have trust, James. And if you have trust, that means enterprise, and that means money, not just for cryptos who are trying to have an SOV or a store of value. This is money that's going to pump in for an ecosystem for the future of as Andreas has said, it is the future of internet money. It is the future not just of internet, but it's the future of business money. It's tokenized, it's a shareholding, it is not a crypto, and it's just giving birth to all of these incredible applications.
That's awesome, mate. So have you seen that article, the guy from Israel, is it?
Yeah, mate. The article, it was on Medium. The author, his name is Noam. He's from Israel.
Oh, okay. It was on Medium.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and you're right, Jamie. It was an incredible sort of recap in the climate at the moment that we're looking at when we talk about two things, and that's Ethereum and Neo. What the objective was to compare them. And what I liked, as you read right through the article, he basically made a conclusion that Neo is essentially an Ethereum. It's the Web3 Ethereum. And what I mean by that is that it's moved beyond just being a platform for applications to append on the blockchain. You know from some of the talks I've talked about Elastos, but it's moving now into a very robust system whereby it doesn't just cater for Dapps. It caters for trust, compliance-ready trust, and it's getting ready for business. It truly is. People don't understand the difference between cryptos and Neo, but the reality is they are different conversations. We're not talking about stores of value for the hope of projects. We're talking about projects that have real-world applications right now in the context of trust. So exciting.
Oh, sure. Oh, like cryptos holding value is good in its own right, but having that blockchain technology there and a long-term plan is also really good. So, and that's what I think Neo has got. it's doing the groundwork now. It's laying the foundations, and I think that's where in the future we're going to see Neo really start performing.
Yeah, we've got a lot happening next year. In January and February, there's so much happening.
I think 2018, I think next year, like they've done all the hard work and they're still working really hard.
Yep.
But I think next year we're going to see some good returns of investment coming from Neo for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, James. Just with the things like the global token fundraising system that they're going to put forward, with the compliance readiness that they're establishing, not just with Onchain, but the things you're going to see tomorrow in Japan. And also looking further ahead, the quality of the Dapps, that's the thing we need to talk about too, because that's one of the big distinctions between Ethereum and Neo. If we want to be honest, the open source but sort of open position that Vitalik had meant that there was no compliance from the outset for all the Dapps that could append onto Ethereum. Neo's taken a very different position, and that's why they don't have hundreds or thousands of Dapp applications yet. But what we want in any investment, whether we invest in Neo, whether we invest in anything, is quality. And they represent quality in every way. And that's why the front line of Neo you're seeing is such incredible quality. We are talking about, as examples, Elastos. This is something that was 17 years in the making for an operating system that's going to run off-chain to make Neo phenomenal in terms of its share value. Because Elastos is doing something that's never been done. So that's just an example, James.
Mate, we could talk all day about all the exciting news, but I think we've got it out there about, you know, this really good news and how Neo is going to grow. It's growing at the moment and it's going to grow in the future. Well, guys, I'm just going to say on both of our behalves, just a quick disclaimer that, you know, we go and do the research, especially Brad, he does the research, but we're not giving financial advice, guys. You know, you guys have got to choose whether or not you want to invest in Neo. Like, we love Neo, and you know, we see value in it, and we both, you know, we invest in Neo. It's like we got like the skim of the milk, like and
the skin in the game.
I mean, that was it, skin in the game.
Yep.
And Brad saying it in one of his previous videos. So yeah, so guys, just bear that in mind. Like, we're just your average Aussie YouTubers that just love talking about Neo. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we're not financial advisors. We're just, you guys, you got to make your own choices and do your own research. But Brad, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Mate, we could keep on talking. I know, man, it's
been great.
It's so
James,
good. It's so good talking to you.
And mate, James, thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the very best in your channel. It's great to see an Aussie Cryptokoala. Love the name. It's obvious you're working very hard. And I look forward to seeing more of your videos in the future, mate. But the other person I wanted to just give quickly a bit of a shout out to was Bite Size Capital. And if you're out there and you want to know who he is, you'll see him in Twitter.
Oh, sure. Hey guys, if you want to check out Brad, I'll put down the links below to his Twitter page and also his YouTube channel. Guys, check him out. If you want to know someone who knows that Neo, he does some brilliant videos. I tell you what, he's one step ahead of the Neo team. He knows a wealth of information. So guys, if you're looking at actually getting into Neo or investing in Neo or Ontology or any of the ICOs, I thoroughly recommend that you go and check him out. Well guys, enjoy your day and I'll catch you later. I'll see you later, Brad.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
See you later, mate. Bye.